Good morning, children. Welcome in class 11th. Hope all of you are keeping fine, staying at home, safe and healthy. We are here with the very first lesson of your English textbook, Hornbill, The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant Singh. I hope all of you are very well aware of this name, Khushwant Singh. You know who he is. Khushwant Singh was India's best known writer and columnist. He was founder editor of Yojana and editor of the Illustrated Weekly of India, the National Herald, and Hindustan Times. He is the author of classics such as Train to Pakistan, I Shall Not Hear the Nightingale, and Delhi. His non fiction includes the classic two volume A History of the Sikhs, a number of translations and works on Sikh religion and culture, Delhi, nature, current affairs, and Urdu poetry. In 2007, he was awarded the Padma Vibhushan. Among the other awards he received are the Punjab Ratan, the Sulabh International Award for the Most Honest Indian of the Year, and honorary doctorates from several universities. He passed away in 2014 at the age of 99. So, what is there in this, The Portrait of a Lady? In this story, Khushwant Singh draws a pen picture of his grandmother. He beautifully unfolds their relationship and how it undergoes several changes. In other words, you can say the story is a loving, affectionate tribute from a grandson to his grandmother. It gives a picture of human relationships. It is a realistic account of how the grandparents give all their time, attention, and love to their grandchildren. In the beginning of the chapter, Khushwant Singh draws an interesting portrait of his grandmother. He presents her as a tender, loving, and deeply religious old lady. He says that his grandmother was an old woman. She was so old that her face was wrinkled, that at the present it was very difficult to believe she would have ever had been young and pretty. Since his childhood, he had seen his grandmother in that condition only. So, whenever grandmother told about her childhood stories, it was very hard for Khushwant Singh to believe all those things. Her grandmother was a very simple lady. She had a little stoop in her back. She could be seen reciting her rosary all the time. She would keep on counting the beads of the rosary and continuously she would go on singing the prayer. The author says that she was like the winter landscape in the mountains, an expanse of pure white serenity. A picture of author's grandfather was there on the wall. He too appeared very old, and it was that he ever had a wife. This idea, this thought, he could not believe it. By the portrait, seeing at the portrait of the grandfather, it appeared to have only lots and lots of grandchildren. Khushwant's relationship with his grandmother went through several changes when he was a small boy. The author and his grandmother were very good friends. His parents left him to stay with her when they shifted to the city. In the village, his grandmother took care of all his needs. She was quite active and agile. Agile, you can say she was able to move quickly and easily. She used to wake him up in the morning and got him ready for the school. She said her morning prayers in a very sing song manner while she bathed him, dressed him up, and at the time she would keep on singing the prayer. Her hope was that just by listening, Khushwant Singh will learn these prayers by heart. She never tried to impose her ideas, her beliefs on Khushwant Singh. The author listened to the song prayer because he loved her voice. He never bothered to learn them by heart. After this, she would prepare his slate, would keep it in a bag. She would give stale chapatis with butter over it and some sugar. She would give it to Khushwant Singh to eat, and some chapatis she would take in her hand, and she would accompany Khushwant Singh to the school as it was attached to the temple. In this school, the priest taught children the alphabet and the morning prayer. The children they kept on they sat in the courtyard, and at that time grandmother would sit inside the temple and she would read the scriptures. This tells us that grandmother was not illiterate. She was able to read and write. And in this period, she was a sole, unchallenged guardian, mentor, and creator of the child, Khushwant. The turning point in relationship of grandmother and author came when Khushwant Singh with his grandmother came to town to live with his parents. In the town, Khushwant joined an English school and started to go to school in a motor bus. Here, the role of his grandmother in his bringing up was curtailed a little bit. Now, it was not possible for grandmother to accompany Khushwant Singh up to the school. She was so much interested in helping Khushwant Singh in his studies, but now it was not possible for her to help him as he was learning English, law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, and many more such things which she could not understand, and this made her unhappy. She thought that she was at loss. Some other things were also there which made her quite upset and disturbed. She found that in the school the children were not given lessons on religion. Nothing was taught on about God and His scriptures. Instead, the children were taught about music. They were given music lessons. She did not like it at all. She felt, and to her, music was not meant for people of gentle folk. It was meant for beggars and the people, those who have lewd associations. She highly disapproved this, but she knew she could not change this, and she withdrew herself to some extent. And she thought that all these things are needed in the makeover of the child, and her role, whatever was there in the village, is now over, finished. But in this town also, Khushwant Singh and grandmother shared the same room. The next phase, after finishing school, Khushwant Singh went to university. Now he was given a separate room. The common link of sharing one room was snapped. Their friendship, the common link of their friendship was over. His grandmother confined herself to a self imposed seclusion. She did not make a single complaint about it. She accepted her seclusion. She spent most of her time in reciting prayers and by sitting beside her spinning wheel. Very rarely she talked to anyone. And the happiest moment or part of the day was the afternoon time when she would feed the birds. In the village, she fed the street dogs, and in the town, she started feeding the sparrows. That was the most happiest moment of the day. And the birds also became very friendly to her. Whenever grandmother was in the courtyard in the afternoon, so many birds would come there, would sit nearby her feet, some on shoulders, some on her head, and some would directly take the grains, whatever grandmother fed to these birds, they would take directly from her hand. Now, Khushwant Singh's grandmother was a very strong person. She did not make a single complaint about all these things. She always restrained herself from demonstrating her emotions. Now, for higher studies, Khushwant Singh had to go abroad. That was also accepted by grandmother without any complaint. Grandmother was there at the railway station to see him off. She was quite calm, and at that time also she was busy in telling the beads of her rosary and reciting prayers as always. At the time of departure, she kissed on the forehead of Khushwant Singh. He felt this was the last physical contact with his grandmother. When he would come back, he will not find his grandmother alive. When he came back after 5 years, he found her more and more religious and more self contained. But she was old in the same way, as if she stopped there only. She was busy in her daily routine, spinning the wheels, counting the prayer beads of the rosary, reciting prayers, and feeding the birds. But just the day before her death, for the very first time, she forgot something. She forgot to pray. to recite the prayers and count the beads of the rosary. She collected what she did. She collected the ladies of her neighborhood. She hung one worn out drum and she kept on singing the song of homecoming warriors. And this was in order to celebrate her grandson's return from abroad. For the very first time, she forgot to pray. Next morning, she got ill. The doctor was called. He said it was a mild fever and it would go away. But the grandmother realized that her end is near. She was quite upset that she omitted her prayers just before the final departure from the world. And she wanted to repent for it. She asked everybody to move away. She wanted to repent, and she wanted to be all alone. Whatever time is left, she wanted just do one thing: pray, pray, and only pray. She did not want to waste any more time talking to anybody. Everybody, Khushwant Singh, his mother, his father, wanted to be there with her, but she wanted to be all alone. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling the beads till her lips stopped moving and rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. The family members, they came to know that she is no more. So for her final journey, the preparations were made. Her body was taken out and it was kept in the courtyard covered with a shroud. To mourn her death, thousands of sparrows flew in and sat scattered around her body. There was a complete silence. So many birds were there, but not a single bird chirped. Khushwant Singh's mother, she scattered some breadcrumbs there, as Khushwant Singh's grandmother would do. Khushwant's mother, she scattered. But to their surprise, as soon as the grandmother's body was, the corpse was carried away, all the birds, they flew away without touching a single particle of the breadcrumb. These birds paid their tribute to the most loving person in this way. So this was the charismatic grandmother of Khushwant Singh. The values which are highlighted in this chapter are that we should give company to the elderly people. We should love and protect the elderly people. They don't want money, they don't want anything from us. They simply want our love, our care, and we should have a compassion for birds and animals. Now, children, here are some difficult words with their meanings. Go through them, learn them, and note it down in your copy. I would suggest you must read the chapter very thoroughly to understand it in a better way. Some questions and answers are given for your comprehension. Now, self assessment. Some questions are given. Read the chapter and try to answer these questions. I hope you must have understood the chapter. Thank you.